There you go. So we are actually live right now, coming from. I'm gonna put up a different page so that Dixon doesn't have to look at himself all the time, and neither do I, which
It was pretty ugly.
yeah, which is always quite strange actually. So welcome back again. We're at live at A4U Expo Munich, and we are talking to different people around the A4U Expo hall, which we're in right now. We're sitting in a booth, special booth built especially for us, and we're sitting here with also Dixon Jones, who also has a booth, I think, with Majestic SEO. For those, I don't know. Probably most people on Status Search know you, but
Yep.
there might be some people who don't know you. So could you short introduce yourself?
Sure, yeah. I've been in the search industry for 12 years. I used to, well, I still do have a consultancy receptional, but I spend most of my time coming around the conferences and talking about Majestic SEO, which is the world's largest link database.
Yeah. So, what brings you to a conference like A4U Expo? What is it? What's in it for you?
Well, I've always been involved in the affiliate community for ever since Matthew started A4U. So it's good anywhere where I've got contacts. It's useful to come to a conference. But the interesting thing for our tool within the affiliate space is that because we track every single link. Well, I say every single link. Most of the links on the internet. We have the syntax of all those links. So one of the things you can do within Majestic is you can say, okay, I've just pulled out the top 1,000 affiliates for a popular sort of gifts program, experiences program, and so what you can do is go to a network, find the merchant ID, the syntax of the affiliate code that all the affiliates are using, and then you can go and say, right, give me all the backlinks to that affiliate network that contain this merchant ID, and bosh, there you've got 1,000 affiliates for any particular merchant out there. So that's a really powerful use of Majestic that people use here. And then the affiliates that are SEO focused, of course, Majestic SEO is one of the core tools that SEOs use to find the best links on the internet, and how people are using links to get themselves up the Google rankings.
So, a few years ago, when you talked about affiliates and you talked with affiliates, all they were interested in is links.
Yeah.
Is that changing, or is it still like that?
Well, no, I think it's changing because Google's making it harder and harder and harder for affiliates. So I think affiliates are tending to move along to social media platforms and stuff, and trying to find other channels. Of course, Majestic are going there as well. So we're tracking, Bitly links and Twitter links. Not in the same way that, the Twitter Firehost, which is an API you can get straight from Twitter. If you've got to spend $1 million a year, you can do that. We're not going to do that. But what it's also useful for, where affiliates are still using links, is to really find voices for a particular product. So if you're trying to find out, I don't know, if you're finding out. Let's say you're interested in fashion, so you're all of a sudden interested in everybody that is talking about Kate Middleton's dress at the royal wedding. Then you can then go and find
Which were many.
which were many, yeah. And so once you found one site, you can see who's linking to a particular site about Kate Middleton's dress, and that starts giving you people that might be interested in fashion for your product, for example.
If you are at a conference, you have a booth now.
Yeah, I should say I only booked the booth on Friday, really. So I'm here with a booth, but no one to staff it, so I have to look after my own booth today.
But what I'm interested in is I always see people with booths, and then I see some people come by, but also see people kind of waiting for people to come by. What do you get out of a booth?
Well, partly the booth is giving something back to the conference, because I think Matthew and A4U have been good to me over the years, and when you can support the conference, it's important to do so. That's part of it. Certainly, it says something about Majestic that they have the strength now, the industrial strength, to be able to have proper booths and that sort of thing. So it shows some of the big players that were there, and then also there's usually around a booth, as long as you don't book it in the last 2 minutes, you have meetings arranged around that event anyway. So when I'm usually at a booth, then there's there's of course the free trials and that sort of thing that go on, but also there's some big meetings that are already planned, which are probably based around getting, a new reseller partner or a big client on board, and so already this morning. Yeah, I've got half a dozen people that want a free trial, but I've also been invited to Poland next week. I've had conversations with 2 or 3 of my big clients who have come along, and been able to see them face to face. So already there's stuff there. But you're right, it does feel like there's a certain amount of waiting around. Yeah. But I think you can do a lot on a booth to try and to make that activity work for you.
What strikes me is that if I look at other search conferences with more search-related conferences, then compared to A4U, there are so many more booths here.
Well, I think that's probably the way that Stuart and the A4U gang have worked on the booth side of things. Really, I mean, I think if you're lucky enough to, like me, to be able to speak and be at these conferences with speaking hat on, you don't need a booth. And Majestic built its reputation on the speaking circuit, not on the booth circuit. But there gets to a point where an organisation gets quite significant, and you kind of then need to back up words with substance.
I'm asking people who sit down on this couch if they kind of can take out their crystal ball and look into the future 5-10 years from now, because there are a lot of things are changing right now, especially with Google and Bing and what they're all trying to do. What's your prediction for the next 4 or 5 years? What is the big change you're seeing?
Okay, well, I'll try and be a little controversial, because of course everyone will say yes, it's changing, yes, it's changing, yes, it's changing. If we go back 10 years, what about have those principles of marketing changed? I don't think they have. Frankly, all that's happening now, before the internet came along, we used to do business face to face. I don't know how it is in Holland or Germany, but breakfast meetings, you used to have breakfast meetings, and groups of people got together and had meetings.
Still do.
Yeah, and isn't Facebook networking just breakfast meetings, you guys? So it's all gone back to relationships. It's all gone back to the very original principles of how we used to do business. Before the internet, we used to talk to each other. And now that's coming home to roost. So I don't think that much has changed. The technology's changed, the speed of information, the way you can get it out has changed. But the principles, we've got Stephen talking on now on the powers of persuasion. He's talking about principles that have been around for 1,000 years. His first slide is a picture of Jesus. Yeah. The principles are the same, and it's only if we go down a little avenue of let's try and manipulate, suddenly getting our message in a place that we didn't expect to get it or didn't have a right to get it, that we go off onto a short-term strategy. But really, at the end of the day, this is all just marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the change we're seeing, I totally agree with you, by the way. It's one of my slides also in presentations contains Jesus and his apostles.
Okay.
So it's about the same. That was the first one with actually followers.
So which one of you has stolen the slide off the other one?
I'm not sure. But the change we're seeing is the change that we're going back to the original way of marketing.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But there are a lot of companies who are kind of stuck to the, so to speak, old way of marketing, which only existed for about 100 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Or less even since the Industrial Revolution. They have to make another switch. Do you think they can do that?
I think that the big organisations are getting led by the WPPs and the Ogilvies, and so they won't make the switch until those large organisations help them do that. And I have seen, in the UK at least, almost overnight, all of the television ads have moved from adverts with their website address on the bottom to Facebook address on, almost without fail, all of the television ads. Now I think that there's only 2 or 3 companies that are behind all these adverts. Really, it's one of the big marketing companies. I think that's lazy, personally, on part of the big design agencies. Maybe they followed this all through, but frankly, they were never very good at following through with the website stuff. So I think they found, well, I can just set up a Facebook page and that's cool. Some much more clever than others, but where the real problem is, and you touched on it, is that ultimately the organisation has got to change back to a social aspect from the ground up, from the inside out. And I don't think a marketing company can help them do that. What you need is a training company to re-engineer and retrain the individuals. On my consultancy website, for example, every individual has their own blog, and every individual has the ability to change content on their section of the site and build up their own profile. And there's rules of engagement for them to do that within corporate guidelines. And I think that's the way forward. You know, training an organisation's employees to talk responsibly about their brand, to understand the legalities of talking about their brand, and certainly with European law changing now, or rather starting to get enforced now, you can't just go out there and say, hey, there's a really cheap deal out here, without saying, oh, plus I work for this company. Yeah. And that in 140 characters is going to be a tough thing to achieve.
Yeah, sure. So what are you going to do for the next couple of days? Do you speak?
Yeah, I'm actually I'm on 3 panels now. So I'm talking at the end of today. I've taken over Youth's place on the Extreme SEO panel. So I did this Extreme SEO back in London 2 or 3 years back. It was a lot of fun with Marcus and Joost and Dave Naylor. So I think Youth for some reason couldn't get here. So they've put me into that, so that's great. So if you want to come along and see that at the end of the day, that would be great. And then tomorrow I'm talking about Panda. Okay. So with Ralph from Tradesbits, so we've had quite a lot of experience of looking at what happened over in America and then in the UK, and it's coming to you guys, coming to a language like near you soon, and you're all screwed, So,
speaking about, well, I was about to close up, but if you bring up the subject of the Panda update, isn't it the update? Isn't it actually just what Google has always been doing, except for that they're a bit more strict now?
Yeah, you could argue it's a lot closer to what Google was trying to achieve in the first place. Yes. Yeah, I think what has happened now for the better. I think Panda is a great update for everybody. If you're not in the business, for the general consumer, Panda is a great update and really, quite interesting. I think what will change as a result is our approach to search engine optimization, and I think finally, well, it may still take a year or two for everyone to catch on, but finally I think SEOs will have to face up to the realities of basic marketing principles and think about the user rather than trying to second guess Google, because we'll still try and second guess Google. It's the way we do things, but ultimately, and it's Google's has got quite complicated now, well, very complicated now, but there's too many exceptions. If you try and start working on correlations, then you need an awful lot of data to be able to start your assessment.
Okay. Thank you, Dixon. I hope you have fun for the next 2 days, and we'll see you at the next conference probably.
Oh, probably. Okay. Thanks a lot,
Thank you very much. So this is again one of the live interviews we're doing from A4U Expo on Status Search. You can look back all the videos we're doing on the website of Status Search, and of course also on A4U Expo. Thanks again also to our sponsors and to our affiliates for you conference to actually make this work and make this happen. Stay tuned, tweet about it so that people can actually come and talk to us live. If you want to join into the conversation, you can by tweeting with A4U State, and we'll pick up the questions. That's why I'm looking down sometimes at my computer to see if there's any questions there. So if you want to join in the conversation. We're going to have some more speakers later on. Stephen Pavlovich is going to join us. We're going to have some actual affiliates also here sitting on the couch. And of course, the people who were voted for on Status Search to be on this interview. Christopher Kemper is one of those coming to sit down with us. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Thank you.